It's day 5 and I already want to quit. I already want to stop doing this just because I feel as if I don't have anything to say, which that's because I don't look into oh my goodness. I forgot. I completely forgot that I have a big project I was working on that I'm going to do and I didn't do any of it today. Well, I guess I'll get to that. But well, that sort of ruined my train of thought. I wanted to talk about being prolific today. I think that's how you pronounce the word. Essentially, constantly outputting art or constantly outputting whatever it is that you output. I don't understand how people I love and consume are so prolific. As in, I don't know how they started to make everything that they did and how they've continued to pump out their work at a constant rate for as long as I've known. A few people that come to mind are naturally Digine, um, because she's who I'm intaking a lot of, but also an author by the name of Brandon Sanderson. He is constantly outputting stuff and constantly he's a high fantasy novel writer and he is just he has like 5 series he's doing at once, all of them with different interweaving plot lines and themes and written for different audiences and so many different worlds and ideas he's created and brought to life and so many words and so many drafts on the pages he has put out. And I don't understand how he's able to do it all and not collapse. I'm not even putting all of my effort into this little project I'm doing. And I already just want to stop and not do anything. And then there are people who make it their full-time job where all of the time, every day of their whole life, they spend creating and expressing their artistic side and trying to convey to people what they need and want to convey. And I feel those similar feelings that they do, the need or the call to make, the call to art. But I haven't yet started to do art. Maybe it's just that I haven't flexed my muscles yet. I haven't really gotten comfortable under rhythm for what I'm doing. And so it's awkward, and so it sucks, and I want to go back to the devil that I know. But I keep doing it because I can't. I can't keep doing what I'm doing. I've got to move on, gotta do things. I've got to be prolific. Maybe not as prolific as someone like Brandon Sanderson, who puts out probably 2 to 3 books a year, maybe more. I'm being generous because I haven't looked into the numbers, but I would think that he does more. Or Digibro, or Digine. I'm in my head. I'm trying to uh, rework it so I call her by what she is rather than what I've come to know her as because I respect her and I want her to be what she is rather than what she is in my head because that doesn't matter and I'm trying to adjust. I apologize if I mess it up a lot. I'm not super good with that sort of thing and I'm trying to get better. I'm also trying to get better at doing things and not sitting and doing nothing. I don't know how you come up with ideas for doing things, whether it's something innate or whether you just sit and you ponder or you talk to yourself or you create different versions of yourself to talk about the different ideas. I would guess you have to be constantly taking in other arts. That way you always have new inspiration and new ideas for what you're doing. I don't know so much with Brandon Sanderson, but who creates the kind of content that Digine creates, that just call her Digi, that's probably easier, to make the kind of content that she does, she is constantly watching anime and thinking about stuff and talking to her friends and the associates around her and taking in other people's art and reviewing that and just there's so much effort put into it. It's not something that you can do or just start because you want to. You have to put effort into making it interesting and into constantly doing it. And that's hard. That's a hard thing to one grasp, but it's also a hard thing to start to do. I don't really know how to shift myself to do that. Um, I've been trying to just, hey, in my mind, I haven't written this down yet, but in my mind, I think, okay, I'm going to, at least for an hour or 2 hours a day, I want to be working on something more than what I am currently doing, something for the future that is artistic. So that doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to work on getting better at Smash Bros. By playing that. That's a different aspect. Or it doesn't mean that I'm going to do schoolwork or prepare for work or any of that. It means I'm going to spend time thinking of ideas to do and then trying to figure out how to implement them and then implementing them and doing them. Uh, but it's an awkward shift going from doing nothing and just being a depressed sack of nothing and moving into trying to be something. It's not easy, and yet it is easy. It's easier than the idea of me wasting away. The idea of me doing things gives me a better sense of peace at night when I go to sleep than the idea of me doing nothing all day for weeks or years or months on end. It's a much easier pill for me to swallow, and one that I am happily willing to swallow. That rather than hating myself and not enjoying my state of existence because I'm not doing anything, because I'm not creating, because I'm not being prolific, I just start being prolific and I start doing things. I've got to do that if I want to get myself out of my current mindset. And there really isn't, I don't think there's a way to do that other than to just do it, which isn't very useful to myself or other people for implementing that, but it's also maybe the most useful piece of information I could have. Rather than procrastinating and doing a bunch of other things that don't matter, like I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna go and bake some stuff, or I'm gonna go and like mow the lawn or clean the house. Those None of those things are bad on their own, but they are bad when I use them to let myself drift away from what I want to be. When I use them to hide and mask the actual stuff I want to be doing, which is creating. Which right now it looks like me just copying Digi's content and her style, but that's the best I can muster up. Eventually I'll be good. Eventually I'll be able to have my own style by amalgamating a lot of different styles and things that I like, and I'll probably try experimenting with different things. Maybe I'll try another Let's Play that I did before, talk about just whatever comes to my mind rather than just gameplay stuff. Maybe I'll try to out some of the music I've written, though that stuff isn't that good, and I don't think people would appreciate it because I don't appreciate it myself. Maybe I could try doing that. Maybe I could try different styles of podcasting. I could maybe bring a friend or family member on, or I could try having. I've thought about talking or speaking into a podcast, having that done, listening back to it, and then trying to answer my own thoughts and questions by myself, and just seeing how long I can keep that going. I could try something along those lines. I could try scripting more stuff so I could be more prepared or have less of the communication problems I usually have when talking and more of the actual points I want to make. I think I definitely will do that. I don't know what form that'll take. I've wanted to talk about music for a while. I don't know how I'd do that. I think I would just take a song that I like and break it down harmonically and then also talk about other things I would need to with that, just so I can have my knowledge be out there and hopefully maybe inspire others to also try to obtain that knowledge. Those are all things that I want to do, but I haven't done yet because I haven't gotten into the mindset or into the groove of creating. I haven't gotten there yet. And the way to do it is just by doing it. There isn't a one-stop trick to do it. There isn't artists hate him. See how he became prolific and stopped doing nothing with his life and wanting to kill himself with this simple trick. That's not a thing. I've just got to push through and keep creating and keep trying to come up with new ideas. And eventually, hopefully, one day, it'll become natural. It'll become second nature for me. But until then, I've got to sit through and slump through this awkward shit I'm pumping out and do just live with it. Another thing I've learned I'm trying to cope with is that what I'm making is not up to my level of taste. I do not particularly enjoy listening back to these podcasts I'm recording. They aren't that interesting to me. I don't think they say much and they meander too much. But that doesn't matter. That idea I have, that sort of self-loathing of the art that I create, I have to cast aside because if I let it take over me, I won't create anything because it's always going to suck. As Jake from Adventure Time said, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. And I've got to keep going to become sort of good at this. And after being sort of good, I'll become really good, and yada yada yada. Circle, flow, the nature of time, improvement over periods of time will make you cooler in all aspects of homogeneous unification. You understand what I mean. You get what I'm saying. You're smart.